All right, so welcome everybody. I'm so excited that so many people are here joining us. I'm Marian Ryanson, the Executive Director of Suppers, and we are so pleased to have Kim Rizk today sharing her knowledge and expertise as being a master food preserver, something that I didn't know existed until I met her. I've heard of master gardeners, but the food preservation was really exciting to me. So a little bit about Kim. Kim is a native of Bucks County, where she grew up on a farm and in the hospitality business. She studied art, language, and cooking in northern Italy and southern France. And during a 12-year tenure at the Heyday Country Markets, a Connecticut-based group of specialty farmers markets, Kim managed the bakery and cheese departments of their flagship Westport, Connecticut store. So she knows her food. Here in Princeton, Kim has opened Jam and Crepes, affording her the opportunity for being involved in the business community and giving back to her town in a meaningful way. Jam and Crepes is a celebration of local regional farms wrapped in a crepe, and with a focus on sustainable food preparation and service practices. The cafe's signature farm-to-table crepes feature the restaurant's house-made and micro-batch preserves, pickles, and jams. If you ever go into the shop and you look on the wall, and there's all these different preserved foods and jams, they're all done by Kim and her team. Kim completed her Master Food Preserver certification from Cornell's Agricultural Cooperative Extension, and we are so pleased to have her here today sharing her wonderful recipes.
Thanks, Marian. And this is so exciting to have so many people that are interested in learning about preserving food. And today we're going to kind of focus on pickling because it's one of our favorite things to do at Jam and Crepes in a way to kind of infuse flavor into fresh vegetables, fresh veggies. And at the same time, you're preserving those vegetables and preserving all the fresh nutrients. And it's just perfect for this time of year because we're just at the beginning of the summer season. So there's all kinds of wonderful things out there. And today we're going to pickle turnips, little white Hakurei turnips. We are going to pickle carrots. And we are going to pickle zucchini. So three fairly basic, summer garden veggies, and we're going to infuse some great flavor. But before we get started in cooking, I really wanted to say a few words and send out some love to a couple of truly remarkable women who have influenced my life in a very impactful way. So I wanted to start, of course, with Supper's very own founder, Dorothy Mullen. And I, had the pleasure of knowing Dorothy for over 20 years and really watched her start some amazing, remarkable programs for our community, everything from the Riverside Elementary School gardens to Suppers, of course. And Dorothy just never stopped giving back her love of cooking and sharing and teaching. And just, I felt that it was, my hope for my lesson here today will in some way, a small way, honor Dorothy's vision. So if any of you know Dorothy, I picked this color in my closet this morning because I was thinking about her too, because it was her favorite color. And actually, the second female mentor in my life that I'd like to share with you today is Edna Lewis. And I have this book from Edna Lewis that my mother gave me with love over 30 years ago. And Edna was a phenomenal chef, writer, and advocate, and really an influencer in her time. She was honored by the James Beard Society as well. And she's really someone to be admired. And if you're not familiar with her books, definitely check them out. I think that you will be inspired by her style of fresh country cooking, especially if you like Southern, too, because she's from Virginia. But anyway, I wanted to share that because I think Dorothy would have approved. So we'll get on to cooking now. That was my thing I wanted to do and share that with you. And I think that, you know, we're all inspired by different people in our lives. And those are just two women that really have been mentors. And while I never met Edna, but still through her writings and her books was very inspirational to, I believe, who I have become in my life. So anyway, let's go on to pickling. And before we do that, though, I want to share with you some equipment. And you probably go, equipment? Well, it's not much, which is a really good thing about pickling. And we're going to do what I call what is referred to as quick pickling. Because I find, well, actually for two of our pickles, for the third, we will do a lacto fermented pickle. So you'll learn two different techniques, but we'll have two really, or actually three really fun different flavor infusions. And I want to say also that Terry's here from the Suppers Club. So Terry, if you want to come in and say hi. So she's going to be helping me, and she helped me kind of get the mise en place together, and she'll be kind of handing us things as we need to do that. So I want to show you something about equipment. The biggest piece of equipment that you'll need with pickling really are your jars. And I'm a little bit of a jar geek, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. But this of course is the classic ball mason jar. This is my favorite style. This is a 30 size and style. This is a 32 ounce wide mouth jar. And that is really the best one I find for pickling because it does have a wide mouth. So you can get your food in there, right? The narrow mouth can be a little problematic sometimes for getting things in there. 32 ounces is a really nice size. If you're going to take the time to do this, you want to have pickles that you're going to enjoy for a little while in your refrigerator, and they will last for a good long time. But there's also the 16 ounce jar. So if you're feeling a little less ambitious and you just want to make a small batch and make sure you really like them, you can do the 16 ounce jar. I think the three recipes, I think everybody has them, are for a 32 ounce jar, but you can cut them in half and do the 16 ounce wide mouth jar, okay? That's what I would recommend. If you get really into it, you can splurge and get some nice jars like this from Weck, W-E-C-K. It's a German brand, and I really like them. They're super attractive, particularly if you're doing a gift type of thing. They have a clamp style glass lid, so they're clear like this. And so those are kind of fun. And you can find those on weck.com. So you can do that. But you don't need to. These are actually probably twice as much, if not 3 times as much. This is your most economical choice, is the classic ball jar. So that's what we're going to do. The lids are something else that I want to share with you very quickly because, you know, you're probably used to, this is an 8 ounce. That would be like not a lot of pickles, but you probably make them and then be gone like the next day. But you could do that. But anyway, you're probably used to these metal 2-piece lids that come with the jars, right? And that's great and fine. But when you're making pickles that have salt and vinegar, they can tend to rust and corrode, right? So I don't like to use them as much because I keep them in my refrigerator for a while. So I like to use these white 1-piece plastic lids that are completely reusable and can just be washed and use them over and over again. And they're not gonna rust or corrode, okay? So those are really nice. You can get those lots of different websites. You know, you can definitely buy those. They're easy and they're inexpensive. Let's see. I'll show you the other things as we go along because we've got some fermentation weights that really work nicely. The ones I found, I've used a lot of different fussy ones. These are the easiest ones that I'm going to share with you. And if you learn nothing else today, it's about those fermentation weights. But I really hope that, my hope today is that if you haven't pickled before, you're going to love this and just become addicted to doing it all summer long. All kinds of great produce, okay? So we're going to start with our spicy beet pickled turnip recipe. And the story behind this recipe is it's actually a fairly classic Middle Eastern style pickle. If you guys have ever been and had like Middle Eastern place and maybe had like falafel, right? If you ever see those kind of purple or bright pink pickles, those are beet pickled turnips. Usually they're really like crispy and salty. So I've taken that classic recipe and added some really nice spices to it, pickling spices that give it a little more personality and some heat. And these are absolutely addictive, really, really good. So I think you're gonna like them. Okay, so we're gonna start with our 32-ounce wide mouth jar. Clean, you know, it doesn't need to be sterilized because we're not going in the hot water bath canning. It's not gonna be shelf stable. It's going in the refrigerator. It needs to be clean, okay? So just wash it with soap and water or run it through the dishwasher, something like that is fine. These are our turnips, okay? These are Hakurei turnips. So they're, and they're in season right now. You can get the bigger turnips as well that usually tend to have, they're probably 3 times the size, and they'll have like a purple tint around the top. They have a thicker skin, so you might want to peel them. These Hakurei turnips are smaller and they have really thin skin. So I like to use them for the pickles. I think they're easier to work with. And they're tastier, I think, too. Terry's been wonderful. She's done a little mise en place, so we don't have to, you know, to spend that time watching me chop all these things. We'll do a few things together, but so the other ingredient is just really need 1 small beet and cut all these little pieces up in julienne kind of size. They could be bigger, doesn't have to be too fussy, and we probably won't need all of this. This beet is really just going to infuse the color into the pickle and make it cool. So this is a super easy brine solution. I have washed my hands before handling my produce, of course. I have a nice clean jar, all super important things. We're gonna start piling our turnip wedges in here. What we did on the turnips is we just cut from the stem to blossom end and did little wedges after we washed them, okay? Then we have other important ingredient in here, garlic. I love garlic, so you'll see garlic in a lot of things that I do. We have a jalapeno pepper, which is going to help really infuse some nice heat. I'm going to get, I can grab one over here. I'm going to use this little paring knife. So we've washed our jalapeno, and I'm just going to, again, slice it from stem to blossom end, just to kind of open it up so we can see the seeds and the veins and release the heat. Then what I like to do is just kind of lay it in the jar. When you think about when you're creating these, to make them look pretty a little bit, you know, kind of so you can see your ingredients that are in there. I'm going to throw a few bits of the beet in there so we get some nice color. I'm going to put another layer of the turnips in here. Beauty thing about this, we haven't even had to turn on the stove to make this, right? Which is cool. Sometimes in the middle of the summer, August, that's a blessing, right? You turn on the stove. The next thing that's really key to this recipe is pickling spice. The pickling spices that we like to use are heavy on allspice, bay, coriander, and mustard seed. Super fragrant too. When I smell this, like allspice to me, but then I smell the bay and the coriander. So with that, we're gonna just sprinkle right in here. Okay. I'm going to put the other jalapeno in. Look, if you don't like them hot, you don't have to put the jalapeno in. That's the beauty of it. You can do what you want to do a little bit. You'll still have great flavor with the garlic and the pickling spice. Okay, so we're gonna put the rest of our turnips in here, pile that up. And when you're doing this, you wanna kind of come up to, I'm gonna add a few more because I don't wanna waste them. But I know that I'm gonna put a weight on top of these. Okay. So now,
someone had asked if it was an entire bay leaf.
an entire bay leaf?
Yes.
I would say so, yes.
Okay.
Broken up, yeah.
Right, thank you.
Now you can buy pickling spice blends that are already done too. I see them around a lot. But you might want to smell them and make sure you like, you know, what's going on there. because they can all be a little bit just like curry. You know, curry's not just curry. There's like different curries, right? So we have our brine solution here. I'm just going to stir it up. All you're doing here in this brine solution is just white wine vinegar. You could also use cider vinegar if you want to. I want to point this out because I like to use this sometimes like an organic unfiltered cider vinegar. We're not cooking these pickles, so you can get the added health benefits of this if you want to, okay? And it has a nice flavor to it too. But we used a white vinegar, and then it's just the water and some salt. So it's truly just a brine. Although an added vinegar brine, because next we're going to do something that really is just a brine without the vinegar. And that's what makes this a quick pickle, and that it has, we're adding vinegar. Woo! You're just a little bit shy. What you want to do is make sure that your veggies are covered with your brine. Now, I'm going to try something though, Terry. Hold on 1 second. Because I got, this is something I wanted to share with you. I've tried all kinds of different, you know, little gizmos for fermentation. And I find these glass weights to be super great, super easy. They fit right in the wide mouth jar. I'm pushing down. You can see that. We can see, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're able to push this down. What's important is that you want to cover all of your produce with the brine. See, I can keep push down, and we're in really good shape. So there we are. Now you're like, oh, we got these white turnips in there too. Still, but look what's going to happen. That's what they're going to look like. Okay, I just did that like 3 days ago. Okay, which is really fun. So we're going to set these aside, and actually after we do the others, we'll go back, and I think you're going to already see some of that color infusion. Okay, so that's ready, and that can go right in your refrigerator. This doesn't have to sit out at room temperature to ferment because it's a quick pickle. So this is ready to go in the refrigerator. You want the flavor to infuse, but these tender turnips are really nice and will be edible in just a couple of days. We'll put these over here. Okay. All right, next, we're going to move on to something that's a ferment. So that's kind of like, you know, sauerkraut is a ferment. And we're going to do carrots. This is really one of my favorite ways to do carrots. Okay. So when I buy the carrots, I really do like to buy fresh carrots with their tops on. I just feel like if I'm going to spend the time to do this, I want to have the highest nutritional value in my vegetables. And this shows me that they're fairly newly harvested, right? When they've got their green tops on. Okay, so I've got one bunch of carrots. And we're going to grab, and we just washed these. We're going to grab another jar, our 32-ounce 5-mouth jar. And the only other tool I need for this is a vegetable peeler. Okay, let's see if you guys can see me doing this. Because this is what we're doing. Is creating peels. You see that? And then, you know, you don't have to drive yourself crazy if you can't get all the way down and the whole carrot, you won't. I just then save the rest of the carrot to snack on later, or throw in a soup or stock or something like that. But you want to get these nice, see these nice curls, because then once they're pickled, fermented, you know, that's a pretty great little like kind of garnish appetizer, or throw them on salads, or just like enjoy them. you know, but it's something a little bit different. And they also will ferment a little bit quicker just because they're thin, right? So it won't take as long. I have done this, yeah, at the restaurant, we do this same recipe with butternut squash too. This time of year, this fermented recipe works really well with the local asparagus. So, and lacto-fermented asparagus, right? Not that I have to show you guys what asparagus is. We just have to have some nice fresh asparagus here. You know, it sounds, but like asparagus pickles, like lacto-fermented, they're really good, really good. And Terry can attest to that because I had her try one of the lacto-fermented carrots. I'm going to show you in a minute because they look a little bit funky. Oh, look, she's saying yes. Good. Okay, so we're going to get our curls together and we're going to stuff them in the jar. Just like this, stuff them in the jar. And we have some garlic, again, slivered, just kind of thin slices of garlic. Going to put some of those in there. And we're going to keep doing our carrot curls. I don't know, I think this is kind of magic. I remember kind of like, I don't know, maybe it was a silver palette thing years ago when they had us trying to make carrot fettuccine. Did anybody else ever do that? Yeah, though. I thought it was yuck. Just because you do this, you get like all of these carrots. And then they had you putting like this creamy sauce on top of the carrot. And it was like, you'd start with this bunch of carrots and then you have this tiny bit. So what I like about this is it's, you know, it adds this nice zest of flavor and you're making a carrot pickle and it's pretty special. And they're great in sandwiches. And I guarantee you will be the rave of the town as a hostess if you serve these. I'm not trying to guarantee, but I'm pretty sure. Okay, so then the bay leaves, we're going to chuck in here. And nothing like the flavor of bay leaves infused in this fermentation process. It's really nice. Now, the alternative I put on your recipe this time of year is fresh dill. You could do fresh dill with the garlic in here. And that's kind of like the flavor profile of, you know, like the New York deli pickles that they pickle in the pickle barrels. This is the same kind of thing. With garlic and dill, they usually do. Cucumbers, right? That's what most people think of. Pickles, oh, cucumbers. No, we're not doing cucumbers. I don't know. Cucumbers aren't my favorite.
So you can do this with any vegetable, right?
You know what? Yes, a great question, Terry. So you're going to have more success with firmer vegetables, right? That have some texture to them, like the asparagus. You could do, green beans, sugar snap peas. I'm trying to think what else this time of year. But, you know, like things that have, like you wouldn't want to do bell peppers or tomatoes or, you know, you want some texture. Yeah, you could do cucumber. Sure. Yeah. Yes.
If I could just ask you a couple of questions that people had.
Yeah.
The glass weight that you, or it's called a fermentation weight, is that?
Yeah. Here it is. This is the brand. Highly recommend it. Silware. They're one-piece glass fermentation weights.
And did you leave that, and you left that in the jar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. And how long do these all last in the fridge?
That is a great question. So most people will say, oh, they're going to be best like in, you know, the next 2 to 3 months. And maybe, but I have found, and Terry's handing them to me right now. So, here's a jar, and you're going, what is going on in there? This is a wild yeast that's grown in here. This is exactly the same process. I did these last summer. There was a big crop one of the farmers had of baby carrots. I'm just going to reach in here. Ashley, could you get me the, I don't want to, so anybody else is going to eat these. Reach in with my fingers. So these are whole baby carrots that one of the farmers had at the end of the season. And I just got, you know, bags and bags of them. And, you know, and this is what I love about food preservation and pickling is that it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with all these baby carrots? Like, how long are they going to last, right? They're not going to last. So I did this, we lacto fermented them, and they're delicious. And this is a year later. So, and this is what I have left is this jar in my refrigerator. But they are crunchy and garlicky, and they taste like a New York deli pickle, like really good.
So is it kind of like, it's up to your, like if you open it, you taste it, it doesn't taste right, don't eat it?
A little bit, a little bit. Yeah.
Because it can last, I know that my sauerkraut lasts a long time, and people are like, oh, it's been only a couple of weeks. I'm like, I don't know, it's still good.
Not longer than that. So, no, that's a good question. I mean, you don't want to see any kind of surface mold that is other than white, okay? So if there's something other than white, I would get rid of it, spoiled. That's not going to happen though, as long as everything's submerged under the brine. It stays in the brine preserves it. Now this white stuff doesn't look so great, but it really is just a wild yeast, and it's actually very healthy for you.
Okay.
Right? Now what I do usually is, because I don't like the way it looks, I'm a very visual person. Like, I want it to look pretty, like this looks pretty. I want it to look like this. So I have a couple of times drained this and made a fresh brine and just packed them with fresh brine so that people don't open my refrigerator and go, ooh, you know, what's that? And then they see that they're pickles and then they'll eat them. You know, like if they saw that, a lot of people will be like, I'm not gonna eat that. So you can just do that. So you can add a fresh brine.
And if you have organic carrots, you don't need to peel them, or is it
That's
just
correct? Just
okay.
wash them. Yeah,
Okay.
just wash them well. Right?
And can you cut the carrots however you want? Like if you want to spiralize them, if you want. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you could do if somebody's got one of those fancy spiralizers.
Okay.
Beets, right? That would be cool. Something like that.
And if you use less salt, does that impact the overall recipe?
No, it will probably, the salt helps with the preservation. It also helps with the texture. I know that people will do lacto fermentation without salt. I haven't done that. I don't know that I really like it, but I think it can be done. But I think that you're not going to have maybe as crunchy product. And I would just monitor that because the salt is a preservative too.
Right. Okay.
So,
and can you pickle onions in this way? Would onions be one of those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. You could do that. I did Brussels sprouts in the fall. These are nice fermented Brussels sprouts. Yeah. So, yeah, and people might ask, like, it sounds weird that it's called lacto fermentation. Because that sounds like milk, like lactic, you know, something like that. But there's no dairy involved, of course. It's the lactic acid in the vegetables that comes out in the process. And that's the healthy stuff. That's the healthy kind of bacteria and stuff. So, yeah. So those are our, we haven't even finished though. We've got them in the jar. And then we're just going to pour this brine over, and there's no vinegar in this brine. So these will take optimal temperature for these fermented pickles is like 68 degrees. Summertime and in warmer temperatures, they'll ferment more quickly. In the wintertime, it's a little slower, okay? But this will probably take about a week. Okay, so on these, we can, I think what's going to happen with these, because we've got these nice little, woo, there we go. Did you see how magic that was? So there are our carrots.
And that stays out on the counter?
So yes, so that's a good question. These stay out on the counter. The beets that we made are a vinegar-based quick pickle that can go right in the refrigerator. And then you will inhibit the fermentation if you put these in the cold. So you want to leave them out at room temperature. Okay. you know, just until they get to a flavor that you like, flavor and texture you like, and then pop them in the fridge. And they will last a good long time. Okay, so we're going to move on to summer squash. And what I love about this is the fact that, you know, usually if any of you are gardeners, right, it's one of those things that you usually have a huge abundance of in your garden, whether it's zucchini or yellow squash. And what do I do with all this stuff? Or you have your neighbors that are gardeners bringing it over to you, right? So much you can cook, and then everybody's making the zucchini bread and everything else in the world. But these pickles, and I like the zucchini over the cucumber. Because if you get a nice fresh zucchini, it usually is not as seedy as a cucumber. So that's why I like to use them. And I just like the texture, the crunchy, nice. And so this is zucchini, but summer squash could be the yellow squash as well. You could do that. Let's see. I was going to, oh, there you go. Thank you. And we're going to get another jar. Get one more. Over our 32-ounce wide mouth mason jars. We're going to have lots of pickles to eat, Terry. We're going to be here all night eating pickles. Okay. So what I do is just cut off the blossom end, or the stem end, excuse me. Just trim off that blossom end. Then I like to just cut it lengthwise like this and lay it down flat on your cutting board or surface. Now this one, we have a brine that we're going to heat up. And you can cut these as thinly or as thickly as you like. I kind of like about a 1/2 inch thick. Nice to have something that's kind of chunky to chew on, to bite into. Okay, so we have our brine solution here, and this one really is just cider vinegar, water, kosher or pickling salt. I wanted to show that to you. That's why I was looking at that. I knew there were other things I wanted to show you. So we use this. We get cases of this stuff. You can use kosher salt. This is, you know, pickling salt. You just want to make sure it's a nice clean salt. And then we're going to heat this up. The reason we're heating this one up is it really helps to infuse the flavor a little bit more, the spices we're putting in there. So it's just slightly different technique. Turn this on, get that warm when we get everything else in the jar, right, Terry? So what else are we putting in there? We've got some hot chili peppers. And again, if you don't like chili peppers or you don't like the heat, you don't have to do that. That's, you know, definitely is optional. I do, so I'll put it in. We'll do zucchini wedges will go in. And then Terry, what else? We have mustard seed, peppercorns. Are those measured or?
Yep, these are measured out.
Okay, so I'm just gonna finish chopping up these guys while our brine is warming up. We have 1.5 teaspoons of the mustard seed, putting in there, and 1.5 teaspoons of black peppercorns. If you happen to have like a black and white peppercorn mix, that can work too, or like a rainbow mix, you can. And the beauty of this is when you're pickling like this, when it's just a quick pickle, it's going in your refrigerator, you can play around with the spices and flavors. So these are kind of like really nice formulas for you to learn and use, and then you can change things up if you'd like. I had what I thought was really cool and might be nice too. It's not in the recipe, but I tried. Went to actually Dorothy's garden yesterday, and there are these nice fennel fronds that I clipped. So it looks kind of like dill, but they're actually fennel fronds. And you know, you had some fresh dill, you could stuff it in there. Just put it in there, getting a nice flavor. Okay, so we'll get some more zucchini and see how our. Okay, and the brine doesn't need to come to a boil or anything like that. You want to get it hot and just have the salt and the sugar melt. Now, I do want to mention, I did say that's optional. You don't have to put sugar in this if you don't want to. You have a diet that doesn't call for sugar. You know, it's not that much, it's a tablespoon, but you don't have to do it. I like the balance of it, but it's totally not necessary. Okay, here we go. And our zucchini, got another bay leaf we're gonna stick in there. And we've got a little row with our fennel. It's okay, have some fun with it, right? Okay, here we go. All right, I'm gonna pour this on top. Again, you're just getting enough in there to cover your vegetables. And I really think I worked on these recipes for you guys so that you would have just the right amount of everything to go into a 32-ounce wide mouth basin jar. If you want to do less, cut it in half. Do a 16-ounce. But then I don't think you'd have happy friends. So, one more. Wait. I may have been a little aggressive with my brine because I'm going to put it over here, Terry, so you don't spill all over the table. We'll put it on this. Yeah. And push it down. Yeah. It's overflowing it. And there you go. There are the zucchini pickles. Now, they'll be delicious tomorrow. Guarantee. They're going to be really good tomorrow because the heat infusion, we didn't get it so hot that it's going to cook the zucchini. It's still going to be crisp, but the flavor infusion is going to be almost immediate. Put that on there. And those can go in the fridge. The other thing I love about the refrigerator pickles is like cold, crunchy pickles, right? That is delicious. To me, anyway. That's full of crunchy pickles. We have in our, Terry's seen, but the whole right-hand side of our walk-in pool at the restaurant is filled with big plastic Lexicon Cambros with all different kinds of refrigerator pickles. Let's get a little crazy about it and have fun. We have pickled corn, we have pickled jalapenos, we have, of course, pickled cucumbers because people love them. We have pickled mushrooms. We just really have fun with it depending on the season. And just always make sure we have plenty of pickles. Along with the jam. We have lots of jam all the time here too, the jam and crabs. But we just love the flavor infusions with the fresh nutritional vegetables is so great. You know, it's so impactful and you only need a little bit of it, right, to just make something taste wonderful. So, I think that's it for our pickling recipes today.
Okay, I do have a few other questions before we open it up for more questions.
Show you what's happening over here, though.
How pretty.
So, but it's already, you see it's already infusing. And then, Terry, could you hand me one of those white lids? Because what I'll do too is put this in the refrigerator. You have the white screw-on lids. Yeah, this one. And then shake it.
Okay.
All right, so we got this. And shake it like this. Put it back in the fridge. We're going to see how and then like in 2 days, that's going to be this beautiful garnet color. And I'm going to show you. Sorry, I get really excited about this. How pretty those pickles are, then, if you can see. They're just beautiful magenta color. And we'll mince those up and sprinkle them in like in tacos. You know, even do like roasted vegetable tacos with pickles like that. Really good stuff. So, anyway. And they're crunchy. Okay, I'm sorry, you were saying there were some questions.
When somebody asked if you can use just boil your water instead of using filtered water, you can just use.
Sure. Yeah,
okay.
That's fine.
Would you be able to use like honey or syrup instead of the sugar in that one recipe?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so melting that too, you could put the honey right into the brine on the stove and melt it right in. Yeah.
And then I uploaded the recipes to the chat for everybody, and we also sent them. But I know that there's some that are on there's one that was on the counter and two went into the fridge, right?
That's correct.
And
Yes. The carrots are the lacto-fermented.
okay.
So they stay out on your counter to ferment. The zucchini and the beet pickles go in the refrigerator.
Do you need to do anything with the fermenting for the carrots like you have to do with burping them for the with kimchi?
No, you don't.
Okay.
So you'll get to see some kind of like bubbling that will come up to the top. We already have a little bit, don't we? These were done a couple days ago. No, you really don't have to do anything about them. Just wait and leave them out at room temperature until they, it'll start to bubble a little bit. You'll have some stuff come up to the top. You can clean it off if you need to. And then once they get to the point where you like them, put them in the refrigerator.
Okay. Somebody asked, mushrooms are soft. Why do they work?
Oh, that's a really good question. So we actually, you're right. We have a different pickling technique entirely for the mushrooms.
Okay.
It's almost like a marinated mushroom. So that's a good point. Don't use mushrooms with these techniques that I just taught you. Go for the firmer, fresh summer vegetables.
Okay.
That'll be crisp. Yeah.
Okay. And then somebody had asked, the white lids, they're the ball jar lids, but they're just the white plastic lids, right? They're sold where ball jar.
I don't know if ball jar makes them, but they're made for the jars.
Yep, I'm seeing them on Amazon that they're ball brand, but I'm sure there's others.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. And is the recipe for this pickling spices? Now, Rachel, you had asked is this one of the pickling spices for one of these recipes or just a separate pickling spice?
No, we put the pickling spices in the beets, the spicy pickled beet pickles, the spicy beet pickled turnips.
Okay. So that's where the pickling spices are.
That's where the pickling spice is. We buy at the restaurant a brand that we really like, the pickling spices from a company in Pennsylvania. We buy big tubs of it, but it has coriander, allspice, bay, mustard seeds. Those are the predominant flavors. And I know I have made my own before, so it's not super difficult. But you can also buy, I think if you need to go to the Whole Earth Center, you can buy bulk, pickling spices. You might want to just smell them and make sure it's what you like, the flavor, or just try them. I don't think they go too far askew. I think it's fairly standard stuff. Yeah.
All right, so somebody said that you can get the white jar lids at the Whole Earth Center, and we'll see. Somebody's asking if there's any local stores that we could get the glass weights. So I guess we'll do a little bit of research, see if Kitchen Capers or somebody might have it.
I wonder if Smith's Ace Hardware. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they have it's seasonal, so we'll check that out. I'm also thinking about maybe doing something with savory spice too, with suppers. So there's a savory spice in Peddler's Village.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we can, for people.
That's right. We used to have one.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so does
have you ever tried? There's a spice company that I used to love a lot. Penzies.
Yeah.
They have a pickling spice too. That's really good.
That I know that's online. That used to be in Grand Central Terminal too, but you can still find them. They're around, but they're definitely around. They've got a catalog.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Let's see. Somebody said Ace has a 4-weight pack and some ceramic weights. So
good.
We have to shop around. But this has been wonderful. I'm so excited. I love pickles. We go into the pickle guys in New York, and now I feel like I've got the inner, the scoop on what to do with it. So.
Right? It's pretty simple once you get a few kind of flavors and formulas that you like, and then just have fun with it.
Yeah,
and it's easy to start doing it right now. There's so much great produce out there, and the farmers markets are opening up now. which is nice. So you don't have to go into the grocery store and feel like all claustrophobic with people. You can get out to the
Right.
farmers markets outdoors too.
Okay.
Go
And
shop at one of your local farms too.
all right. I also want to remind everybody also that Jam and Crip is open for business for takeout. So we want to support our community partners as they support us, and we're thinking about you and wishing you all the best. And thank you so much for this wonderful, making it look easy demo that I think we all feel confident we can go and start chopping and have some wonderful outcomes. So thank you everybody for joining us. And this will be uploaded to the website probably within a week once we just do a little bit of editing around it. And you're welcome to share this with everybody, and we will post the recipes there as well.
Right.
So thank you,
If
Kim.
you want to order from Jam and Crafts, you can go online. We have online ordering from the restaurant.
All right, perfect. Curbside, right?
Curbside pickup, yeah. And a great Sunday brunch program too.
All right, all right. Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for having me.